Welcome to the Life and Times podcast. Sit back, enjoy the conversation, enjoy the vibes, and thank you for checking us out. Quick question for you. What's the name of your podcast? It doesn't matter what I just want to do that shit.
You had to. You had to do it, man. You know?
Yeah. So shout out to It Doesn't Matter podcast. Shout out to those good fellas over there. I see y'all. I'm paying attention. I'm watching. I'm listening. Trying to support as much as possible.
Thank you, man. We appreciate it. Yeah, man. Likewise, do the same thing with you with the Life and Times pod and the We're All Marks pod anyway, you know?
Yeah, no doubt.
Shout you out whenever we can.
No doubt, man.
All
no
love.
doubt. That's how we gotta support each other. All right, listeners, welcome back to another episode of the Life and Times podcast, which is short for the Life and Times of a Restaurant Lifer podcast. I'm Adrian. You already know it's no BS coming from me. And for episode 13, lucky number 13, I am joined by the homie Dom. What's happening?
What's up? Wow, number 13 on the It Doesn't Matter podcast. They call me the Notorious Dom because, you know, just like you bring no BS, I bring no BS too, bro.
Hey, man, that's the only way to live, man. That's the only way to live. But let the people know where can they find you online, as well as, you know, plug the podcast, bro.
I'm all over the place, but you can look us up on Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcast, It Doesn't Matter podcast. We're on Twitter, Adrian Pod 23. You know, we are three close friends, and we love professional wrestling, and that's what we discuss every week. Is something brand new, and sometimes we ramble and go off rants, whatever. But it's all fun. It's all love. That's all it is, man.
That's what's up. All right, man. Well, we always like to start off the podcast, Dom, with something that all of us in hospitality, either we come in being very good at or we leave the industry being very good at it, and that's drinking alcohol. So my question to you, my friend, is what are you drinking for this episode?
Today, I'm drinking this Voodoo Ranger Juice IPA.
Okay.
Have you had that?
Yeah, I haven't had that type. I've had Voodoo.
Yeah,
okay,
Voodoo Ranger.
Cool.
So this right here, it's not your typical IPA. You know, your IPA. You know, you get your hops and your whatnot, but this right here is literally like juice, man. It's you drink two of these and you are good.
Word.
Yeah, what you sipping on?
I'm joining you on the IPA train. So we got a local brewery called New Realm. And they have transcendent IPA called Psychedelic Rabbit. So it's a cool little cover art and all that. And listeners, as you always know, if it's BS, I'm going to let you know. If it tastes good, I'm definitely going to plug it. So smells good. Is this your first time having that one?
No, I had this before, man. You know, with me, I'm a beer drinker. The only thing I can't really mess with is stouts. It's just too thick for me. Pause. But like, you give me a nice IPA, or you, if the can looks fire, like I'm gonna try it.
Okay. So this is actually a good beer. So I'm definitely gonna enjoy this one and definitely enjoy this episode. So we always like to kick things off with some positivity and some flowers. So with a toast, with an appropriate toast for the podcast and to our guest. So to you, Dom, man, I want to wish you all the best. I see you guys working hard on the podcast. I see your kids are growing. They're getting big as hell now, which is crazy because when we first met, I want to say you only had one, or maybe one was on the way. So
one was on the way. Yep.
Yeah. So it's crazy seeing you have two big kids now, and that's life, man. It's a beautiful thing. So I want to toast to you, toast to your family, and definitely toast to your podcast because You guys are doing the good work, man.
Thank you, sir.
Stay up with it.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate you. Appreciate you, sir.
And of course, toast to the listeners. Shout out to y'all. If you haven't already followed us, follow us on all social media platforms at Suplex Dinner Club, and definitely spread the word, because now we're on YouTube. Now all the videos are going on YouTube. So check it out if you're not already on Spotify Premium to be able to watch this podcast. So check us out on YouTube. All right, Dom, we're going to set the table. I have a couple questions I always ask our weekly guests. Are you ready for it?
I'm ready, brother. Bring it.
All right, cool. So first question for you. Growing up, what was your perception of hospitality workers?
I really didn't think anything of it at the time because I had no interest in, me going to restaurants one night. It is what it is. Like, somebody had to do it. Somebody had to do the job. That's basically how it was for me.
Gotcha. Okay, that's cool.
Yeah, it changed. It changed for me when I went to culinary school.
Okay, all right, cool. So we can definitely talk about that. But what was your first job in hospitality?
Oh man, my first job in hospitality, man, I was a dishwasher.
Okay, tell us about it.
I hated it. Oh man, so I worked in our casino over here in Connecticut, Mohegan Sun. It was Virgil's Barbecue, man, and during the week, it'd be so slow. They have so many people lined up, ready to work, whatever. But as soon as a Friday, Saturday come, when that weekend experience hit, and that's when people are calling out, and then you got to bust tables and dishes on stuff. Oh my God, man, I hate it so much, man. Like, I want to quit so many times, but I'm not a quitter. Like, yo, how you staff people during the week, but on the weekend you got like 3 dishwashers. Like, nah, It don't work like that.
Right. Nah, some of the busiest restaurants I've worked in, I know we always had like 3 dishwashers, like on Friday, Saturday, just because of how crazy it is. But nah, I feel you on the, everybody's there ready to work Monday through Thursday, but once it's Friday, nobody's ready. So now it's more work for you, and now you're even having to work out front and all that kind of stuff, because you said you had to bust tables too as a dishwasher.
I had to do all that, man. People called out. You had to do everything, man. I was a jack of all trades in the restaurant, man. I literally worked my way up. I went from busting tables and washing dishes to salad prepping and line cooking and all that, man. I did all that.
How long did you work for them?
I worked there maybe about a year.
Okay.
It was too much. I was still doing my full-time job, and I was doing that at night. I was working so many hours, man, long days. And so I've always been like
getting
that.
It in.
Always had 2 jobs. Yeah, man. I still do it. I'm not in the kitchen anymore, just only in the crib, but I still do it.
Okay. That's what's up.
Yeah. All right. Now, what I was gonna say is also when at the end of the night, and while I was like I said, I was on the line as well, clean out that the grease from the fry, all that stuff. Man, I did not like that.
Yeah.
Had to drain the grease in the bucket and then fill it back up. I did not like that.
Yeah, that's always the job we give the rookies. That's never fails, no matter what restaurant it is. The new cooks always have to clean out the fryers. So, all right. Last question for you, man. Do you believe that everyone should have at least one job in hospitality? And more importantly, why?
I feel like it's a great learning experience for everybody. Like, working in the hospitality industry, that's a great way to get your foot in the door for anything. Like, you be prepared for anything. Like I said, you work your way up. If you're trying to be in corporate America, you got to work your way up. Same thing. It's an experience you can relate to anything.
Okay. I like that. Answer. Did your co-host John work in a restaurant before?
John, you ever worked in a restaurant before? He said nope.
Oh, man.
He never did it.
All right, cool.
You got to get at least one.
yeah. You got to get at least one time in a restaurant. just to work in that weird world and apply it to life. So, all right, cool. I like those answers. So let's go ahead and get into it, man. We're both wrestling fans. We're both pro wrestling fans. In fact, just background for the listeners, that's how Dom and I met. We met on a flight headed to WrestleMania in New York, I believe.
Nah, I think it was New Orleans.
Ah,
New
okay,
Orleans,
okay.
yeah. Because I was coming from Atlanta, going to New Orleans. Yeah,
Got you.
it was a
Okay,
wild time.
that makes sense.
And the only reason why I peeped you because of your wrestling shirt. So wrestling fans stick out.
That's how we recognize each other. So we're like,
Yeah.
yo, he must be a wrestling fan. We're on the same flight. Obviously, put two and two together. So that was a fun trip, man. I will say New Orleans is probably one of my favorite. That's probably one of my favorite cities traveling for WrestleMania, just because of how close everything is.
Definitely. Everything's in close proximity.
Did you go to WrestleMania
that was a good
Dallas?
trip, man.
Did you go in Dallas?
The first one or this last one?
Either one of them.
I went to the last one. Yeah, I went to the last one.
Okay. Did they have the events closer to each other, or was it like, because Arlington is damn near an hour away from downtown?
It's huge. I felt like I was all over the place, man. It seemed like I did, because I did like the Busta Open show, which was like literally right across the street from the stadium, but the WrestleCon was like downtown. It was all over the place. Texas is huge, man.
Yeah, it is. It is.
And it's crazy. I didn't know about all these independent shows because besides you, like you put me on, you and my man John put me on all these other shows. So now it's a whole weekend thing.
Definitely. If anybody gets a chance to go to a WrestleMania, man, just like go on Reddit or something, or just get inside some kind of wrestling group and get put on game to the schedule, because it's so much wrestling going on in that whole weekend, and you could be introduced to some of your favorite new wrestlers. So definitely, if you go, I would suggest if you go to WrestleMania, if it's a WrestleMania in New Orleans, do that because of how close everything is. Plus, you're close by. You're in the Quarter, you're in the French Quarter, so you can always hit up Bourbon Street, even though it's tourists everywhere there. Go to Frenchman Street. If you know New Orleans, go to Frenchman Street. That's where the locals kick it. So, all right, man. So we're talking about pro wrestling here. And what has to be, at least in my opinion, I'm pretty sure you would agree with me, Dom, the hottest storyline in professional wrestling has to be currently the Bloodline of WWE.
It definitely is.
Okay.
Definitely.
All right. So I'm not going to go into a lot of background on this story because it's damn near 3 years old now. So listeners, if you're not a wrestling fan, I apologize, because it's way too much to go over. But I'll give you cliff notes. Okay. So big star Roman Reigns. He is the chosen one. The company wants him to be the guy, but the fans all reject the man, myself included. I remember him winning in Dallas main event and me walking out of the arena upset, even though it was pretty much set in stone that he was going to beat Triple H.
You were one of them?
So, I was one of them. I was upset. I did not. I'm not even going to lie, man. I wasn't as toxic as a lot of the fans have become, but I was one of those fans that was just like, come on, man, there's so many other options. I was still probably salty about Daniel Bryan and all this. So, yes, I was definitely one of those fans.
All right.
Yeah, I can admit that. I'm man enough to admit that. Fast forward in the future or whatnot, and we get another opportunity for Roman to stand on top of the company as the champion. Although this time, his attitude has changed. His presentation has changed. And now the story or the narrative going along with him is that he's taking the reins, no pun intended, he's taking the reins of the family legacy. And now he is the tribal chief. So, with the addition of his cousins, the Usos, as well as Paul Heyman, who's one of the greatest talkers in professional wrestling, it quickly the group quickly became one of the most popular groups in the industry. Dom, what were your thoughts when Roman first came out, essentially as the tribal chief? New attitude, new presentation, all of
Oh,
that.
oh, man, when this dude first came out, man, I enjoyed every moment of it, man. I embraced it because this is what we wanted for the longest time. We wanted it with John Cena. It never happened with him. But with Roman, this is completely different. And then, literally, he wasn't God mode, man. No pun intended. This man, he was just out there. He had the look. He came back. He had new teeth. Teeth all white one night. Like this dude, right. He was like the perfect dude at the time, man. And he just running through everybody, man. Like he made you acknowledge him.
That's a fact.
They're just dope. A dope concept, man. And I'm looking forward to the summer to see what's going to happen with him.
Hell yeah. So, just like what Dom said, whoever stood in front of him, whoever faced him, they were taking an L. One of the craziest or one of the dopest parts of his whole run, his current run, is he was challenged by not only Daniel Bryan, who's, damn near universally loved by mostly all wrestling fans, as well as Edge, who's a legend. Everyone knows Edge. He's universally loved. Challenged by both of those men in a triple threat main event. Didn't just beat them, but this man took it to the next level and stacked them like they're children and pinned them. So this when Dom says,
came out with a t-shirt afterwards.
Amen. So when Dom says this man was in God mode, that's God mode. You just beat two of the legends. Our current time legends, stacked them on top of each other. The level of disrespect to beat them. And, that's what it was. So the current storyline has shifted a bit, but that's what makes this such a great storyline. Now, not only have we seen dissension in that group, but now we've seen Sami Zayn being brought into the group for a while, which I think was like the accelerant of the whole gimmick of really getting everyone locked in on it. We saw dissension in the group. We saw Sammy get kicked out. We've seen the Usos now have been kicked out. And now it looks like the ceiling is crumbling down on the Bloodline and on the champion, Roman Reigns. Would you agree to my assessment, Dom?
I agree. I agree. You on point right there, bro.
Okay. So now
everything's right, man.
Now the debate has presented itself amongst wrestling fans, and this is the reason why this is our topic for tonight. Is the Bloodline storyline the greatest storyline of all time?
I'm going to say it's the number 2 storyline of all time, because the greatest story of all time is Stone Cold Steve Austin and Vince McMahon. You'll never replicate that.
Okay. I like that one.
I meant from modern day, yes, the Bloodline.
Okay. All right. So let's take it on a grander scale, just because a number of our listeners, they aren't wrestling fans. That what they're familiar with when it comes to wrestling is back in the Attitude Era of Stone Cold and Vince McMahon. So, I like your answer of Stone Cold versus Vince. We've also seen people bring up Macho Man and Hogan. The Mega Powers, that Mega Power story. That's consistently one of those stories that are being brought up as greatest story of all time. So you say it's Stone Cold and Vince. So tell the listeners, why is that the greatest storyline of all time?
Man, just taking it back to the Attitude Era. Everybody has that one coworker that you can't stand. And Austin obviously didn't like his boss, and he brought it to him every week. If it wasn't pouring cement in his Corvette, if it wasn't pouring beer on him, and oh man, this dude just tormented this dude every day. And look, the man's hair is still brown now. Like Austin did that man dirty every year, man. Like, yo, this man gave him a stunner in Madison Square Garden. Like, everything you could possibly dream of doing to your boss, Austin lived that out for us. If you hate your boss. Yeah, everybody knows that story right there, man.
Okay.
Everybody.
I got
for
you.
A new listener or a new follower of wrestling, then yeah, I would tell them about the Roman and the whole bloodline thing. I have to break it down, and they'll get into it. But nah, if I had to show somebody something, it would be Austin and McMahon. And plus that bedpan scene was amazing too. Hit that man with the bedpan in the hospital.
This is true. I'm gonna insert that clip for a quick hot second now. All right. SummerSlam is coming up, and we have currently what's being booked is going to be Jay, main event Jay of the Usos versus his cousin Roman Reigns. Do you believe that Jay is going to beat Roman at SummerSlam?
No.
Okay.
I don't think so.
Okay. Why? Tell me why.
I feel like Roman's been getting beat up too much lately, and you still got Solo in the back burner, and Jimmy Uso supposedly is in the hospital or whatever, but nah, he's going to make an appearance and it's going to be a distraction to mess up Jay, and Roman is going to do what he do, man. Because honestly, I like Jey Uso. He's hot right now, but he's not going to be the one to dethrone Roman Reigns. And I think the one that's going to dethrone Roman Reigns is going to be his cousin Solo.
Wow, really? Okay. See, I like that. That's why you're on here. I want to hear those kind of shots. I don't just want to hear Cody. I mean, I know people saying Cody's going to finish the story.
Oh yeah, I want to see Cody too, but nah.
Okay. I like that.
It's going to be Solo. It's a slow build, man.
Definitely. Okay. What about The Rock? What about Dwayne? Is he going to ever come back to face Roman?
If this man have a good schedule, then he'll be there. That's it.
I meant actors are on strike, man. The actors are on strike right now. We got time and opportunity.
Oh, so that's why Cena showed up in London the other day?
I'm saying he ain't recording right now, so we can do this.
Yeah, but things could change in April in Philadelphia, so that's the thing. That's still a ways out. We don't want it. It can't be at no Survivor Series. It can't be at no Royal Rumble. It's got to be at the grandest stage of them all.
It's got to be Mania.
If he is the elder.
Right.
It's got to be.
Right. I feel that.
And I don't know if you remember, The Rock did come out in Philadelphia when Roman won the Royal Rumble.
Yep.
And they was booing the hell out of him. Yeah, they booed the hell out of Roman. So
yeah, The Rock was looking crazy as hell when he was looking crazy as hell when he was trying to endorse his cousin. And he's like, man, what the hell?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so let's talk about this Bloodline storyline, man. This is a question for you. Who's the MVP of the Bloodline storyline? And in fact, don't say Roman.
Oh, man. It's got to be main event Jay, man. It's a supporting. Actually, it's Jay, it's Paul, and now Jimmy. It's like the whole supporting cast right there. Solo, he's starting to get there. But it's all of them, man. Everybody's benefiting right now, man.
That's a fact. Do you think that Sammy was like the gasoline to that storyline? Like it kicked it up a notch?
Oh yeah.
Okay. So.
Oh yeah. Definitely.
All right.
Definitely. Him being honorary Uso, he definitely boosted that bloodline. And then you see how they played it out, and then he finally got Jay to finally love him and whatnot, and yeah, it just played out. It's just an amazing story, man. I've never been so invested in the story before like this.
Okay. Obviously, it's been going on for 3+ years. At this point, I want to say like 3 years. And a lot of guys, like Dom was saying, have been elevated. Their status has been elevated due to this. Sami Zayn elevated from where he was. The Usos, even, I mean, if you want to really talk about it, you break the Usos up and look at them as individuals, and each of them have been raised to a certain level compared to where they were before this storyline. So, like you said, it's definitely benefited damn near everybody on that in that faction. So, speaking of factions, I also hear a lot of the talk of the Bloodline's the greatest faction of all time. Do you agree with that?
Oh man, I have to disagree, man. The reason why I say that, man, because I still think the Four Horsemen is one of the greatest factions of all time.
That's my favorite.
And I'm talking about Rick, Arn, Tully, and Barry.
Okay,
that's the
Barry.
One right there,
okay,
man.
Yeah, that's
yeah.
That's the pinnacle of.
Who do you think?
I meant I would, for the sake of arguing against your point, I'm going to say the greatest faction of all time. The greatest faction of all time. I know I've said the Four Horsemen before, but I'm going to say I'm going to throw out the Hart Foundation. That's my favorite. You're talking number of title. I mean, you have a number of title reigns, as well as stories amongst that faction in the short time that they were together. Because you're talking,
yes,
even before the Hart Foundation really formed, you had Owen and British Bulldog beefing with each other. You had a long-standing feud of Owen and Brett going back and forth. So, and you always had the wild card of Pillman. So, I mean, and if you go back of best tag teams, the Hart Foundation was always one of my favorite tag teams. So, to argue against your point, even though I low-key do agree with you that the Four Horsemen is the greatest faction of all time, I'm going to say the Hart Foundation. Bret Hart.
Hey, I respect that. Yeah, I'm a Bret Hart guy too, man. I respect that, man.
Yeah.
But you can't take nothing away from the Four Horsemen, man. All them title reigns, and they were real deal, man.
Okay.
That was in the gimmick.
Amen. All right, so when we're talking about the Bloodline and this being possibly one of the greatest storylines in pro wrestling, would you agree with me that the element of long-term booking or long-term storytelling is kind of lost in today's pro wrestling overall?
Definitely.
Okay.
Definitely.
Okay. Because I mean, listeners, I mean, anyone who talks to me about pro wrestling, they know my thoughts on it. I want all these companies to do great. I want all of them to do well, make money, because the more successful these companies are, these promotions are, the more opportunities for these wrestlers. So I'm not going to be one of these weirdo fans praying for the demise of AEW. I'm not going to be that. However, one of my biggest gripes when it comes to all elite wrestling is the lack of storytelling, is the lack of long-term booking.
I agree.
You agree?
I agree.
Okay.
They do a lot of stuff that doesn't make any sense, man. I tell my boy John and Abel that every week. I'm like, I watch the show. I'm like, all right, why is this guy getting banged with a chair? And next thing you know, they're not doing nothing with the next week. Like, it don't make no sense.
Yeah.
Like, follow up with it.
Right. And it just seems so simple. It's really so simple to tell a story in pro wrestling. And I just think that they drop the ball on it like regularly. And it's not like AEW can't tell a good story, because some of their best stories or best matches have come from long-term storytelling. Like when Hangman finally won the championship, that was a long-term story, and they did it pretty well. MJF Punk. That was a great story. That was one of my favorite stories of pro wrestling. So they're absolutely capable of it. I just don't understand why it's not being consistently done like it is.
They're all over the place, man. I really don't understand them. I want them to do well, but come on, at least make sense. Like, I was so confused. Like, the other day they had the was the blind tag team tournament, whatever. What is this? Like, all these tag teams that got you just throwing people together now. You got Adam Cole and MJF, which I'm cool with, but
right.
But what for?
Yeah, see, I'm willing to wait on the MJF Adam Cole deal, even though initially, like what you were saying, I was like, why the hell are y'all doing this? Blind tag team tournament is silly, but I'm willing to give it a chance. What did you think of that dance? Yeah. What did you think of them dancing during that match?
I know Britt Baker's a happy woman from seeing Adam Cole go. But I enjoyed it. It was pretty cool. It was entertaining. So it's something different. MJF, he. Oh man, I like MJF.
Yeah.
He's something special. He's a great talent, man.
He definitely is. He's definitely he's got the tools. He has the tools. He's a good solid worker. He works logically. His in-ring is makes sense. It's logical. You know what I'm saying? It's sensible.
Yeah.
And, when it comes to promo, his promo is, he knows how to get people riled up. So,
Yeah. Do you think he is a better talker than Roddy Piper?
No. God, no. What? Seriously?
Nah, my boy Abel asked that. I was like, nah, no, definitely not, man. I said Piper took it to a whole other level.
No. And I'm not even gonna hold him for even suggesting that, because MJF is still young. He's very young. So it's still plenty of growth and experiences that he has to go through to get to where we know of Roddy. Roddy was 40-something years old. So we got to be able to take that into perspective also. Like, what is when MJF is 40 years old, he's probably going to be one of the best men talking, period.
Definitely.
What's next for the Bloodline, in your opinion?
Solo and Roman.
Okay. Do you think that's Mania?
Solo and Roman. It has to be, man. I think you have to have Solo win the Royal Rumble. You have to do that.
I like that. I actually like that.
It's a slow build. You have to do it, and then you possibly have maybe Jimmy and Jay go at it at Mania. It's possible. He could be jealous. Jay said before that he was the prom prince or the prom king,
right?
As he said on TV.
Right.
But hey, Jay got a better overall rating in 2K than Jimmy.
They got to make
Jay,
that a story.
Jay's over.
I feel that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
And, I was just gonna say, that's it. But if they do bring out the elders, I'm surprised Rikishi hasn't shown up yet. I was expecting Rikishi by now, but still nothing. If y'all don't know, Rikishi is the Usos' daddy and Roman's cousin or
uncle,
something in the bloodline.
Right.
Uncle something.
Yeah.
But but I want to see Dwayne. I want to see him out there. I want to see that interaction between him and Roman.
Definitely. Okay. All right. So So that's us talking about the second greatest storyline in Dom's opinion. Second to Stone Cold and Vince McMahon. So I feel that. I respect that. Hey, Dom, we got a question from last week's guest. You have to answer it no matter what. And then you got to leave a question for next week's guest. So are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, cool. So last week's guest was Dr. Phil. That was his name. That's my brother's name, Dr. Phil. His question for you. Or actually, let me ask you this. Dom, are you looking to start a business anytime soon. I would say the podcast is definitely a business opportunity, right?
Yes, but I do have a dream of one day owning my own establishment, restaurant establishment. So
Okay.
that's my goal.
All right. So the question from last week's guest, with your dream in mind of you owning your own restaurant, opening and owning your own restaurant, what's stopping you?
Besides a little bit of debt, just gotta work for it. Just gotta make things happen, man. It's gonna happen. I got first and foremost, I want to get a house first before I do that.
Okay.
I'm working on that. That's my main thing. Then after I get that situated, then that's when they're gonna come and play.
There's nothing wrong with having a list of goals. You have to be able to set priorities to them. So that's awesome for you to be in the realm of you having your own home for you and your family. So that's awesome, man. Yeah. Good luck
definitely,
on that.
Man. Thank you. It's gonna happen, man. You know, speaking to existence, definitely gonna happen. I work hard and I'll make it happen.
You need to move the family down to Georgia, man. It's a lot cheaper.
I got the Braves tattooed on me. I got the Falcon tattooed on me. I'm gonna be down there, man.
I'm saying you need to come holler at us, man. Come to holler at us.
You already know, man.
Yes,
you already know.
So, Dom, what's your question for next week's guest?
Let's see.
And it could be anything and everything. Don't feel like it has to be some deep thought type deal. It could be anything.
All right. How about this for next week? Whoever it is, what's stopping you for getting you to where you want to be in life? What's stopping you?
Okay. That's a little close to last week's question. So I'm going to push back. I'm going to say, give me another one.
All right. I'll do that. Let's see. Man, everything I want to talk about is basically relating to what you just said. So I can't say what's stopping you from being great. I can't say that.
Man, that's close.
Same thing. So similar. Is this still?
I'm gonna rock with it.
What's stopping you? What's stopping you from being great?
Okay. I'll go with that.
That's all I can say right now.
I got you. Another thing that we do on the podcast, Dom, weekly, is we ask you as the guest to contribute to the Life and Times playlist. Listeners, you can look it up on Spotify, the Life and Times playlist. It is a curation of songs, of vibes, of moods coming from the host, Adrian, and our weekly guest. So, Dom, what are the 2 songs that you're going to add to our playlist?
Oh, man. Well, for me, every day, I'm always on the go and always trying to exceed in life. I got to go with Rick Ross, Every Day I'm Hustling.
Okay. All right. I like that. That's a classic. That's definitely a classic.
That's a real classic right there.
Okay.
And
what else you got?
And it's another song that it gets me going. I know people might not want to hear this, but every time I hear it, I get motivated and I get amped up. Cody Rhodes theme song, man.
Okay.
Yeah. Who's it? Disturbed.
I don't even know
the Disturbed. Disdain. The Kingdom. That's what it's called. Yeah. But yeah.
Okay, that's
just type in Cody Rhodes Kingdom. Yeah, that thing gets me going every single time I hear it.
It's a good song, man. It's a good song. It's a dope song. So
it'll hype you up.
Yeah, no doubt. I like that. All right, so my 2 songs. I have one song that's new. Is going to be "Drug Trade" by Smoke DZA, Flying Lotus, and Black Thought. Now, if you hear those three names, you would clearly think, okay, Smoke DZA's in over his head. Like thought is not one to play around with. Don't get a thought feature unless you're going to come to play. But Smoke DZA actually showed up, and he sounded like he was in shape of rapping. So, which was a surprise to me. I love Smoke DZA, but I also constantly find myself underwhelmed from Smoke DZA songs. So he did his thing on that. I can't hold him on that. And the next song is going to be a cool little vibe. The name of it is Mirage, and the artist is Orion Sun. Nice, smooth, mellow music to listen to. Calm your nerves, calm the energy around you, and be productive. So that's the way I describe that vibe. So those are the songs. All four of those songs will be on the playlist. Listeners, if you're not already following it, look it up and follow it, please. All right, well, Dom, we've reached the end of the podcast. I want to thank you for joining us. Also, go ahead and plug your podcast, plug what you got going on, and let the people know how can they find you online.
All right, guys, you can find me on the It Doesn't Matter podcast page on Facebook, Instagram, the IDM Pod on Twitter, IDM Pod 23 on Twitter. And every week, me and my boys, we talk about professional wrestling. That's our love right there. Old school, new school, whatever you want to hear. We started doing watch-alongs.
Nice. Where are y'all doing the watch-alongs? You're just posting those on, right?
So we just, record the audio, and we just sit there. We know we got Peacock, I got Ring of Honor, all these apps we pay for.
Right.
Sit there and watch. The last watch along we did was ECW Heatwave 2000, and
nice.
The three of us never seen it. And,
nice.
Oh man, it was good. It was a good time, man. Yeah, man. We sit back, kick back, have a few drinks, and we just go.
Okay,
that's what we do.
All right, well, listeners, thank you again for checking us out. Be sure to follow us on all social media platforms at Suplex Dinner Club. We're on Instagram. Our YouTube page is up and running. So if you haven't already followed that and subscribed to that, please do. Watch a couple of those videos, like a couple of those videos, and most importantly, share a number of those videos so that we can continue to grow the Suplex Dinner Club family. Mondays, we talk college football on Dogs versus All Y'all, where we don't just talk about the defending national champion Georgia Bulldogs. We talk about all things college football. And on Wednesdays, you already know the vibes. It's the Life and Times podcast with some good conversations with some cool, interesting people that I've met in my years in the hospitality industry. So shout out to the people. Thank you again for joining us. I really do appreciate y'all. I really appreciate any love and support that we do get. Peace.
Saturn, so that could mean, quite candidly, double duty for you tomorrow night, and that's a lot to ask of any man.
Excuse me?
Hey, that's no problem for me because I can go all night long. But let's go back to Monday night. Yes, I was blasted by Saturn from the backside.
What did you just say?
I'm confused too.
You said what?
And yes, I do think Rick Martel saw what was going on.
How much gas you going to have left after a match with Martel?
Well, let me tell you, and I'm ready to go all night long if that's what it takes. So Saturn, after I finish with Rick Martel,
like,
whoa.
I was surprised. Pause.
You better be ready to go all night long.
I was going to let that one go. But
because I planned on leaving that night as the world television champion for the second time. Now, can you dig it?
I thank you very much, Booker T. Big week for him.